Welcome to a brand new series, an epic series where we're going to be taking a look at the coolest things that happened to anybody who's old enough to remember them throughout history of video games. And we have something really special today, but welcome to... No, that's not it. What is it?
Uphill both ways.
Uphill. Welcome to Uphill Both Ways. My name is Nathan with the Nathan Napalm, and with us we have...
Minus from Pantheon Plus. What's up, Nathan?
What's going on, man?
We're going to go back and look at some gaming moments that have stood out to us. So we're going to kind of discuss the situation. Really excited to go back through some games. And tonight we have a really good one coming up in Resident Evil. So, Nathan, whenever you're ready, let's get going.
So, Nathan, for me, Resident Evil was a pretty big game. I actually rented this game. There was a little convenience drugstore, it was called Pharmar, and I don't think anybody that's not from the Northeast is gonna know what that is. And it had a little video game section by the prescription area. For some reason, there's a little rental area, and I rented Resident Evil, and I had no idea what it was. I had never read about it ever, and I'm like, this looks cool. So I take it home, and this time I'm a younger kid. I'm living in my basement. I have a basement room. It's creepy, it's creaky, there's bugs, it's mud, and here I go, no idea what this game is, and I'm putting in Resident Evil in the dark in a basement.
Nice.
So when's the first time you got your hands on this game, or what do you remember about getting it?
I'm gonna be shocked at how similar my story is, actually. It's gonna seem like we planned this. So, I knew what it was. I'd heard that it was this fantastic, horrific, scary game. You know, I was young, I was in middle school. All the kids were talking about, oh my gosh, this sweet game, Resident Evil. And I kind of followed it as best as you could pre-internet days. So, I'd seen it talked about in magazines and stuff like that. And so I had to rent it because, I was a kid, I didn't have my own money yet. So I went to a friend's house, and that was the plan. That's why I went there that weekend, was we were going to rent Resident Evil and play it. So,
some kids were sneaking to their friend's house to go drink or do bad things or meet up with the girlfriend they were seeing. But we were going to our friend's house who were allowed to play the M-rated games.
Games we weren't supposed to play. He was also afraid his parents would find out about it and not want us to play it. So we took it down into his basement and had a TV all set up, and we played it in the dark. It was terrifying.
Yeah. So what we're going to do in these is we're going to go through clips. And keep in mind, these are older games, so some of these clips may not look beautiful, right? So we're going to go through these clips of the game, and we're going to show the clip, and then we're going to kind of talk about, the moment we remember when we saw that clip. So that was, look at that.
First zombie. First time you run across one, they're coming, and then you see that. And the sound effects, man. The sound effects were spot on for the time.
I didn't know they were coming. I had no idea this was a zombie game. So as a kid, man, when I saw this part of the video, and remember, we're looking at the graphics of this now. These graphics when we were a kid were pretty much real life.
Yeah, they were better than real life at that time.
The head falling, you're like... and then you hear...
His eye just freaked me out. The way his eye looked in that clip, I remember it horrified me. I was thinking back on it man, they made his eye look so freaking real and crazy. You could tell that it was he wasn't actually alive. There was no soul in there. But yeah, that definitely set us aback. And what's messed up about that clip, though, is right after it shows you that, you're back in the game, and he's only a few feet from you.
Yeah.
You don't know how to play yet. It's this new tank control. Remember, you have to like,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Well, and let's not forget too that Resident Evil controls in themselves were just totally bass backwards, I guess you'd say. Going the wrong way. Why are you turning? No, you're not even aiming at him.
It's eating your face.
just like walking into a wall.
If you were scared in game, your nervousness in using the controller made it harder to play the game. All right, I'm gonna skip to the next one here.
All right.
So, remember, we got this. The video quality here is not phenomenal. But here we go. This might still scare me, and I know it's coming. So, I yelled at the top of my lungs playing this game when that dog jumped through the window.
Oh yeah, man. And had you already tried to leave the mansion before this scene? You tried to leave the mansion, they would like be all snapping at you and you couldn't leave. So I already knew, and you know, in the first scene, the dogs are kind of what chases you into the mansion, and while you're trapped in there, so like you kind of felt safe from the dogs because you're in the house, they're outside, and so that terrified me, man. That literally could have given me a heart attack.
And then we see this. This was the moment the lights went on. Okay, we need to put the lights on to play this game. And I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, let's, I know we had decided we're going to play this in the dark for the ultimate kind of scare factor, but I need the lights again. Not because I'm scared, just because I'm going to try to eat, and I'm afraid bugs will eat my food. That's why.
Yeah, I think I might have to go upstairs in a little bit, so I'm going to turn the lights on. See, yeah. So the interesting part about this is this was in itself scary, but when things change in the game, now we don't have this clip, so I figured I'd bring it up. When things change in the game, we actually get to this hallway again later when we're backtracking, and there's giant spiders on the ceiling, and they just fall. Do you remember that? So this room...
Couldn't you, like, barely see there was something, like, in
Yeah.
and you're like, what is that? And you start walking, and just spiders just...
Yeah. And I don't like spiders. And I'm in the basement. And I'm already scared.
And there probably is real spiders in the real basement.
And they might even be bigger than the ones in the game.
Oh, I gotta tell one more thing about this dog scene. My wife, I married the youngest I could legally. But so she was a lot younger than I was when this game was out popular. But she was a young child, and her brother played this game, and so she seen this scene, and it scared her just watching it, and she still is terrified of Doberman Pinschers because of this game.
Oh wow! If anyone who watches this video, if you're watching it because you remember these moments, anybody who played this game, you remember these two moments we've done so far. You remember them 110%. You cannot forget them. You can't etch them out of your mind. So.
Something we love about another game that we talk about all the time, which is Pantheon, which is consequences to your actions, or death having meaning. Death had meaning in this game because you only had so many ink ribbons that you could save with, so you kind of conserved when you were gonna save, and so sometimes, like that situation, you might have several hours in the game since you played. You really didn't want to die.
Hey, what's going on?
Jill? Is that you, Jill? What happened?
Barry, help me please. The door won't open. Quick!
Stay away from the door, Jill. I'm gonna kick this door down. Hurry! This way!
Oh,
Just
Barry!
stand there, Joe.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So Nathan, me and you are both, if people don't know this about us, both of us are sort of into horror movies. So the cheesy lines are so needed. Like,
Yeah. I remember saying to my friend, because these were cheesy even back then, so people now may think, I bet you back then in 1998, they thought that was good voice acting. No, we knew it wasn't. We needed something, because these were crazy good graphics for the time. We needed something to kind of take our mind out of the survival horror. And I remember telling my friend the first night we played, I was like, I'm glad that the acting is so cheesy, because otherwise I don't know if I could play it. It's too horrifying.
She goes, Barry, the door won't open. She never says, like, the ceiling's coming down and I'm gonna die if you don't open this door. She's just like, Barry, help! The door won't open. Stand back, Jill. I'm gonna bust this thing down.
Like, don't tell us what you're gonna do. Just freaking do it, man.
So he busts the door down, and she's just like, Hi, Barry.
Hey, good to see you again, buddy.
Hurry, Jill.
My green screen fell down. I'm done. Screw this whole show. I'm out of here.
It took me a long time to beat this game because of the ink ribbons, the ammo. It was hard to get to the end. It was very challenging if you didn't have enough saved up. So for me, I used to go to my grandparents on the weekend sometimes, and I took my PlayStation with me, and I took Resident Evil. I'm like, well, I'm going to play this there. I didn't bring a memory card. I completely forgot my memory card. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? And I just like, okay, I have to be super careful. So I played the most careful playthrough of Resident Evil ever. When it was night, I had to turn the TV off but leave the system running, praying that when I got back it was still on. And the first time I ever beat the game was in a no save. I couldn't die or it was over. And I actually beat the game in what was like the time frame. Because remember, if you beat it like in under like an hour and a half or 2 hours, you got special. It was like 48 hours because I had to leave the console on.
So you played Resident Evil with permadeath.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like, my buddy's like, can I play? And I just looked at him like...
I'll tell you something interesting. I didn't beat Resident Evil for a really long time because we rented it, and obviously we didn't beat it that weekend. And I actually didn't have a PlayStation at that time. I had a Sega Saturn. And so I actually didn't even get Resident Evil, and I don't remember how long. It was a decent amount of time before it came out on Sega Saturn, and then I played the entire game. And another funny story about Resident Evil is when I was still playing my first playthrough on the Sega Saturn, the time that would become the time I beat the game, I pretended like I was sick so I could skip school and play Resident Evil all day, and my parents were at work, and I actually got sick, and I actually couldn't play.
All right, well, that's our first episode. Uphill both ways. Back in my day, we played video games uphill both ways, no shoes, in the snow, with wired controllers.
Oh, these days you can look around in 360 degrees? No, not when we were kids. No 360
Fixed angles!
camera. Nothing you can do about it.